From a Polish team like Flying Wild Hawk after the two Shadow Warrior reboots of 2013 and 2016, one can only expect a very fast, ignorant, determined and extra shooter like Shadow Warrior 3, with its mix of katanas, freaky monsters, splatter finishes and impossible weapons that theoretically should make any fan of Shadow Warrior, of course, Painkiller and Serious Sam happy. Yes, if we go how this game was presented by its own authors and by perfect publisher for this character mod like Devolver Digital, it turns out that the third installment of the Shadow Warrior reboot series arrived on the market with less high ambitions than expected. A little because of the disappearance of the multiplayer, a little because of the downsizing of the sandbox ambitions that had characterized the predecessor, with its own open levels, quests and a modicum of exploration that had made it the largest, longest running and the most ambitious chapter of the series. On the contrary, in the Shadow Warrior 3 we return to the essential, with the game structure strongly anchored to the scheme made up slowly of the first-person platform sections, necessary to move from the area to another. There are no second path areas to explore to find some bonus gadgets, open sections in which to interact with the NPCs or other elements that may somehow recall the open experiment done with the Shadow Warrior 2. On the other hand, this shift disappointed me since I had enjoyed the previous chapter a lot, but the other hand, a period like this seems to have been shirking out almost only one open world title for tense hours. Find yourself slaughtering demons in 9 hour shooter, depending on difficulty level, can have an almost invigorating effect. Of course, such a monolithic and equal relying from the start to finish remains the limitation, not just but if what you are looking for a similar FPS and blows, chaos, hordes of enemies, good graphics and the alter ego that seems to come out on steroids, have you are satisfied. Aside from new and few useless skirmishes during the platforming phases, areas and places where you will spend most of your time, that means continuous waves enemies to annihilate them and unlock the passage to the next area. The combat is obviously frantic and almost on the verge of chaos with dozens of enemies to face at the same time, elements of the scenario to be exploited in our finders, and the mix of katana shots and firearms that have always represented the heart of the gameplay of the series. Sliding down with the katana, which inflicts insane damage among the other things, always is a pleasure, but also the gunplay with the pistol, rifles, machine guns, grenades, launchers and more gives a nice feeling of the power, which each weapon can be upgraded by the collecting special silver orbs to increase the magazines, improve the power of the blows, or in the case of the katana, add electric or paralyzing attacks, which obviously looks cool. And believe me, you will need to little have fully upgraded the arsenal available, since after the first hour of play, getting out of the area alive at the medium difficulty level, it's not even a joke at all. The beauty of the Shadow Warrior 3 is not only shooting and containing, but also the constant need for movement between the jumps and double jumps, breathtaking races to refuel health and bullets, and the inevitable grappling hook to hook certain enemies or reach immediately a raised area that makes us breathe for a moment. Not too much truth, since staying still even for a few seconds can mean only one thing, death. The Doom style finishes, which can be activated, however not always but only after having collected a certain level of golden spheres, like a nice division. In fact, not only do recharge health, but immediately kill the unfun on duty, but they almost provide a special time weapon that can do a lot of damage. I admit that every now and the fights can get stressful and too long. But at the same time, I was always curious to see what the Flying Wild Hog would come up with a bestiality level, as the demons seen in Shadow Warrior 3 are among the most beautiful, bizarre and varied over the whole series, and each, for better or worse, has their own weakness to exploit, with a particular weapon or in another way. Also considering the upgrades of our hero, there is still a bit of meat to keep the gameplay interesting even over long distances, with a longevity in my bright opinion that avoids the risk getting tired due to the exclusivity of the game structure. The platform sections between one area and another play card of spectacularity, and the whole game is accompanied by a continuous sense of vertigo that you may like or not. But since we are not talking about the Mirror's Edge, nor about Dying Light with their parkour implements, these first-person passages are not particularly inspired. The plot itself, which relies on the cutscenes that are not very present but well executed, is a small thing, but no one does not even notice in the similar chaos of blood and grunts in a gun sauce, while the setting, while not offering much variety, effectiveness referred to rather fascinating and epic Japanese fantasy demonic imaginary, made so also by an inspired and at times refined graphics sector. You can see that developers have not pushed too hard to guarantee as much as the possible 60 FPS. But in my case, I play on 4K and with almost everything at maximum. It's beautiful. Shadow Warrior 3 beautiful side has shown very few signs of uncertainty thanks to the patch from a few days ago. So about the verdict and the summary and the conclusions. If you were expecting a faithful following of the procedure, Shadow Warrior 3 will disappoint you given the clear change of course by making Flying Wild Hog, which leaves aside any open ambitions, preferring in fact a real shooter interstirred with a platform intruders that will not go much down for to more than one fan of the series yet. Despite the woodiness and structure, the length of the certain clashes, the sudden peaks of difficulty and fairly mined platform sections, Shadow Warrior 3 works well where it's needed most, or offering forces exalted, hyperkinetic and without in moments fights respite. Could it be enough for full pass? Absolutely yes, but if you are looking for something more, you will not find much bread for your teeth. Also, I will leave all links in the description. Don't forget you guys to comment and subscribe. Peace.